afternoon. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Cynthia Linet, and today I'm going to share with you one of my proudest moments, being chained in a rocking chair on the railroad tracks for the purpose of saving the planet. Yeah. But before I do, I'd like to tell you a little about myself so you can understand how I got here. To begin with, I was born a hippie. I began hanging out in Haight-Ashbury when I was 15 and found kinship there. I barely survived Haight-Ashbury, and as a result, became a lifelong seeker of optimum health. I've been a vegetarian for over 50 years and a vegan off and on for all that time as well. Today, I am a nutritarian. Only 2% of the population adheres to this regimen, but because I never seem to get tired on it, it's easy to keep it up. But my most important credentials here is that I am a great-grandmother, 7 times over. And I have 7 grandchildren as well, and 4 children too. And it is for those reasons that I have become an activist in the climate crisis movement. So now we're getting to the chains. When I first moved to Seattle, I joined a group of older, educated, mostly white women who had been raging against the system for years. The Seattle chapter of the Raging Grannies. One of dozens of groups around the country. They dressed in rather silly, colorful granny attire and sang meaningful songs about the problems of the world. I liked their spunk and their knowledge of things. I was a newcomer to this, but I was ripe. Shell Oil had built a humongous oil rig 10 stories high, and they were getting ready to sail it to the Arctic to drill in pristine waters before the winter freeze. They were at the pier for last-minute repairs, and if we could stop them, even for a couple of weeks, we could prevent them from drilling for that year at least. A group called Shell No was formed, and many individuals and activist communities joined on. The plan was to chain ourselves to all the entryways to the port to prevent the workers from working that day. This would be a joint effort. There would be activists chained to cars, to cement-filled barrels, and even just lying in the way chained to lockboxes. We, the grannies, would be chained in our rocking chairs to the railroad tracks, 2 by 2, with Shirley, our eldest, in the middle, through PCP pipes especially prepared for the event. We planned to be dressed in our best granny attire. Now, what was needed was instruction and a plan. We gathered several times together to discuss the plan and work out the particulars. Rising Tide Seattle would be our trainers. They would prepare the sleeves and jewelry. Their direct action training was thorough. The guys were pros at this. Oh, and did I say, they were all so young and idealistic and energetic and oh so cute. I remember thinking, oh, if I was only 50 years younger. Well, maybe 60. The chains and sleeves and jewelry and hooks were all measured. We did several run-throughs of getting chained to the chairs and to each other, And then we discussed how the setup would be and how to prepare, and that was it. When I think back on it, I don't think we ever discussed what would happen after we got chained and before we got arrested, if in fact an arrest would happen. I guess it just didn't matter. We were in for the duration, come whatever. The plan was to get set up before the sun came up and before the police were there. The morning came. We gathered at the meeting house by 5 o'clock and were ready to go. Our groups separated and each waited for the all clear signal to head to the port. But there was a big group of police there that morning, and so the action was aborted. The next week we tried again, and this time we were successful. It must have been at least an hour before the police realized we were there. And of course by then, it's too late. Once you're all chained up, there's really nothing they can do. They can try to negotiate, find out what you want, but that takes time. Negotiations always take time. And that means that everyone has to be in on them. So that means talking to each participant. And our police liaison was not in any hurry. Being on the tracks, forced to sit for 9 hours, was not really difficult. We had on double diapers and a helper. Each one had a helper if need be. I have to say, my blue-haired helper, Sean, never once left my side. He was devoted throughout, and even all the way to the jailhouse. The day was spent singing granny protest songs and talking to people. The press particularly liked us, and there were many stories written about us. We were the stars of the day. Shirley, our eldest, spent the day pretending to knit. It kept her hands busy, and nobody knew that she couldn't see a thing. Finally, when it was clear that we had stopped the workers from working that day, the other activists unlocked rather than get arrested. We, the grannies, decided to stay. Better to keep up the visibility and the issues. After the other activists left, the police left too, and I don't think they would have returned had it not been for the fossil fuel industry that did not want us on the tracks. I guess they thought we would just go away by ourselves. We had been there for almost 9 hours when 22 police cars, lights and horns blaring, descended upon us. It seemed so over the top to encounter 5 little old ladies in their rocking chairs just trying to save the planet. This time there was no negotiations. They were going to just saw us out of those pipes and take us to jail. They surrounded us with policemen and covered us with heavy tarps to prevent any sparks from burning us. They didn't have an easy time, however. All those layers and layers of duct tape and cloth and rebar stopped them substantially. Took them a long time to get us sawed out of them. Must have been at least 15 or 20 minutes for each one. This time, at least 20 minutes for each one. They were very careful in taking us to jail. They called for a fire truck to come and check us out. After all, many of us were in our 70s, and Shirley was in her 80s. I guess they thought we might have a heart attack or something. After it was clear that we were okay, they took us by van to the jailhouse. They even let our helpers come with us. I have to say, that many of us believe that had we been people of color, we would not have been treated quite so well. But I don't know. I've been arrested since then, and I have to say that was the best time I ever had. At the jailhouse, they booked us, took our photographs and fingerprints, and then let us go. We were never charged, and nothing came of it. I think they did not want the visuals of a group of old ladies with a large entourage of political activists at a trial. But we did stop that oil rig from harming the pristine waters of the Arctic, and they have never come back. Would I do it again? Well, not only would I, but I have. But that's a story for another day. But here's the deal. Shell No happened 7 years ago in 2016, and nothing has improved since then. In fact, things have gotten worse, way worse, and many believe that the situation is now hopeless. But I just cannot go there. I am worried, I'm very worried, that soon there will be no more beautiful world for my family. What have we done? How could we have cared so little about the earth, our home, for things to come to this? Droughts, floods, fires, starvation, migration, wars, pollution. It's all dying around us, can't you feel it? It's nothing like you was when you were little, is it? What can we do? Well, I, for one, cannot sit idly by and do nothing. What would my grands say of me? How would I answer them when they asked me, what did you do, Grandma, to protect us? I could not live with myself. So here's the deal. Being on the tracks with all those activists was really one of my proudest moments. We made a lot of noise, and better yet, we stopped that oil rig from harming the Arctic. But of course, this might not be your kind of thing. However, there are lots of things that you can do to help the planet without getting arrested. The baby boomers are coming of age. They are retiring at the rate of 10,000 every single day. They are the biggest cohort in American history and as such have tremendous power, not only in numbers, but in assets as well. So here are some of the things that you can do to save the planet without getting arrested. If your money is in a bank that is funding fossil fuel extraction, take it out right now. Why should your bank be able to use your money to kill the planet? There are lots of organizations out there fighting to save the planet. Greenpeace, 350.org, Extinction Rebellion. They could use your money and your support. And you can stop eating meat and dairy. Just think that one sacrifice alone could actually save the planet. The meat and dairy industry are the biggest polluters in our country next to the fossil fuel industry. We kill 9 billion animals every year in this country. And besides, you'll be a lot healthier if you can remove those foods from your diet. So, there's no time to be maudlin or depressed. When you fight for the planet, you immediately feel better. There are lots of groups out there fighting to save us. Join one or start your own. You have skin in the game, don't you? Your grands and your great-grands are depending on you. Thank you.